Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, no matter where in the world you are heard. You are, of course, watching Goldhart Gaming, and I am your DM today, DM Gloss and Gadgets, otherwise known as Leonie, and you are here on Wacky Wednesday, where we play A Date with Death. And because it's Wacky Wednesday, we're a little bit off-key and a little bit upbeat, and things are a little bit chaotic, but that's okay, because that's how we like it. We got some legalities to go through, so quickly, while we love everything D&D, we're not supported, affiliated, or sponsored by Wizards of the Coast LLC. While you are watching, you are accruing stags. Stags are funny little XP things that very soon you'll be able to do really fun things with, such as give someone a pet. Like, we really want Sam to have a hook horror. So when when Waterdeep Dragon Heist, Dungeon of the Mad Mage comes back, let's get Sand a hook horror. And you can totally do that with your stags. Also, you can note... Oh, yes, my chatbot is messed up. Let's kind of fix that. We are off to a good start. We've got a big error. Thank you very much, chatbot. There we go. You also may note at the bottom is that we have listenees. Listenees are special evocations that bestow a gift on a player that they can use anytime, such as a Listening of Forgiveness that allows them to re-roll any roll at any time, especially if they're about to fail. And they can kind of know when they're about to fail. Ones pretty much mean a fail, or if they roll a 1 and it's a minus and so they get 0. That sometimes happens. But yes, how you get listeners is by any bit cheer that you do. We'll feel that lovely bar below me, and once it reaches 100%, which is about $10, we get a new pearl in our special little pearl holder. We also have a patron, and we've just started a new series called the GM Binder. The GM Binder is all about turning little bits of history into fantasy, and we have our local history nerd, Dom, who you see in Baldur's Gate, Descent into Avernus. We've just released the latest one, which is all about medieval times and the law, and how to not be problematic with it. And everyone's bored of City Guards, so why not have a look at all the wonderful examples Dom gives you for alternative methods of keeping the peace in your fantasy setting. Anything else I need to tell you about? Yes, Waterdeep Dragon Heist is currently... it's a Dragon Heist again. It's a Dungeon of the Mad Mage. It's currently on hiatus, and we're about to have our second session 0. Everyone's having a nice rest from that, and we will be back with that in May. But of course, we still have Date with Death and Descent into Avernus, which is showing. Right. Sorry, I have a drink out of my paladin cup. Smite juice for smiting. Right, shall we do our recap? So the last time we played Date with Death. A Date with Death, should I say. Spirits and Scones made their way to Waterdeep. They had a mission from the Coachwell family to find their daughter, Carice. With a C, not a K, by the way. But... the crew landed in Waterdeep and were, of course, met by the Griffon Riders. They were given a very long rundown of the Code Legal and were pretty much told to be on their best behaviour, or bad things will happen. Bart immediately took this opportunity to pretend that they were a king, to which Bart was enabled by Fawkes to encourage this, and they were discussing the importance of cloaks, to which I DM think that a cloak of made out of moss and flowers and clover would be most fitting for our wonderful tree blight, but that is not the point. The point being that in the Code Legal it is specifically said that impersonating a lord or noble can lead to your execution, so that was quickly shut down. We got to the Coachwell house, and they were met by Lord and Lady Coachwell. Lord Coachwell, seemingly not very worried about his missing daughter, and Lady Coachwell, who seemed too worried about her missing stepdaughter, it was revealed. Upon talking on the Lord and Lady Coachwell, they found out that the Mistress Cerise had many hobbies. She did everything from painting, riding, fencing. She even tried magic. She did falconry. She had a garden that she abandoned. She did dance lessons. She did a lot. And nothing stuck. And on further investigation into her room, that also became evident. They were also given a grand tour of the house. But no, nothing interesting or relevant was really found out, other than her room seemed fairly untouched. Longer than how long she'd been missing, which people have kind of put down to being slightly over a 10-day. They found out that a former teacher was called Douglas, and he taught Cerise archery, and he was subsequently fired when she went missing. Upon talking to some of the servants, Molly, and I have now forgotten her name, and now I'm looking at my notes. Molly and Abigail?
Agatha. Sorry.
Agatha, nope. Thank you. P. Shucker. There we go. I have it right here. Thank you very much. They got the gossip. The Coachwell house once belonged to the Vandersand family. And a long time ago, it was apparent that Lord de Vandersand, Real, was a warlock. And apparently he did some very suspicious things, and his wife was murdered. And then all demons ran amok, the house burnt down. The last of the Vandersand family, Pythagoras, hung himself in the house before the estate was sold on to various nobles, one being the Coachwells. The party definitely thinks that something involving this warlock spirit, or maybe perhaps a trapped devil, is underfoot. But they're not quite sure yet. They also spoke to Perseverance, a tiefling stable person who hadn't been there very, very long, but was able to point the party into a couple of right directions. Everyone agreed that Perseverance was hot, despite me not giving any description of what they looked like. And so, towards the end of the session...
All you said was tiefling. That's all you needed to say.
I know that.
Like, what is it? What is... Yep.
It's so true. People are hot for the tieflings. Rejected my butt.
Having like demon blood all up in you is kind of like a thing that people are into.
Okay, well, I am Ace and I don't quite get it, but I will not judge you or kink shame anyone here for their personal taste. After all, I am playing death, and we are here to date death. But towards the end, we started to have a couple of internet issues, but the party were in agreement. They had found the information that they needed to move on, thinking that they had found out everything they needed about the house and the state of the family. They were going to move on into the city, go down to the dock ward in Waterdeep, and of course speak to Douglas. And as the party are beginning to think, where the hell is Death? And Shay, because the party kind of forgot about them. It is here we will begin our session as we begin to move down to the dock ward.
Well, I told y'all, y'all are supposed to be responsible. I can't keep my eye on all of y'all and Death and the dog all at the same time.
Shay! Leave them all. Leave them alone. They'll be fine. Wherever they are, they're having fun. They don't ever not come back. They're their own individual, and I try not to keep them close to me out of some incessant need for companionship.
Well, that's true, but we are in an unfamiliar place with lots of people around, so.
And if anyone hurts them, I will kill them. So.
Well, that's true, but you never know if Waterdeep has, those laws against moss, twig dogs.
Yeah, did the code legal say anything about moss dogs? I wasn't listening.
I
don't think most people have moss dogs, so technically loophole.
I mean, I am technically made out of branches and dirt and moss. Am I a person? It's a very good question.
But you are a visitor, and the code legal goes against people who are visiting.
Yeah, but am I a person? Or am I a shrubbery? Ha ha ha!
I think live
we could
shrubbery goes to whoever made said live shrubbery. So technically everything you do goes on who made you.
I believe we could use the addendum from 1470 that means you're not an owner, that you're merely here that say you can play fetch with.
Right, exactly. Yes. What if I am just an instrument so that this dog has constant sets of things to chew on?
Technically, Shay takes all of your. If you do something, then it's
Shay. If we're doing is a loophole, right? If we're doing this honestly, the great tree Gilgamesh, the devourer of the world, created me, and therefore this big giant evil tree with its roots down to the core of the world is responsible for everything that I do. Therefore, I do.
So we bill him. All of it, we just bill him.
And Bart knocks over a garbage can that they walk by, and they're like, "Whoops, not me." And then he goes by and picks it up, and he's like, "Don't actually let it."
Manovia's like, "You pick that up."
He doesn't leave it there, but it's the example.
Okay.
I mean, right. Whoop. Okay, wait, no. Okay, it's back. Don't worry. I didn't know. Ooh. They need to pick this up. Those are some big rats.
They are the best. They are the boss of us. Dorotheus.
They are indeed rodents of unusual size.
I don't think they exist.
Yes,
just bride reference, everybody. High five. All right.
So, you wanted to go to the dock ward?
I thought we were already walking down the dock.
Yeah, we are walking there.
As you wish. Okay, sorry.
Hi. Yes.
Nice. Okay.
Shoehorned.
Yep. Shoehorned. It wasn't too shoehorned. All right. So yeah, Bart's like, well, once we see Douglas, did we want to see anybody else?
Well,
what time is it actually?
Yes, DM, what time is it?
The time is coming up to midday. You didn't spend much time in the house. You set off in the morning. You got there, I would say late morning. And now as you begin travelling down the length of Waterdeep, because it is the length of you're going from High Town to Low Town, it is getting around midday. So it's quite busy. I don't think any of you are quite used to the amount of people that are hustling and bustling in these streets. And allow me to paint a picture for you, if you will. The city of Waterdeep is quite built up and compact. We're talking buildings that are 3 to 4 stories high. Excuse me, my smite juice is repeating on me. And occasionally scattered through these overcrowded, built-up, sometimes leaning buildings are these great giant statues in various poses. One seems to be waist deep into the ground, reaching up. Another one seems to be about to throw a great big ball. And you can see from these statues that people have built their houses into them. And you don't think this is by design. They weren't built like this. There is evidence here that perhaps Waterdeep suffered a great catastrophe and these statues moved once. Because they're all in various poses of destruction and... Yes. Fawkes? Oh, yes, you're pointing to them. Oh, yeah, look, there's a lovely Waterdeep background right down there, with Griffin riders and everything. And the people here are dressed at the moment where you are in the seaward, very wide square-shaped dresses that take up all the pavement. Men seem to be just as elaborate as the ladies, if not more so, with bows, jewelry, pearls the size of fists, etc. You also know...
Now I raise a hand.
Yes.
Please tell me it's like that Lord and Lady Castellanta art that's in Dragon Heist.
Yes, it's exactly...
amazing.
It's exactly
amazing
like
trousers.
that. The most amazing trousers. And thank you so much, Anonymous Cheerer. And you are walking through the streets and you start to see horses drawing these great double height carriages, seemingly heaving with people. Just through and they seem to stop every now and then. People get off, people get on, just randomly through the streets. And there's no sewage on the streets, which hints that there perhaps is a sewer system. But all of you from the countryside, all of you live in Dorothea's very quaint and quiet cottage. You've only really been to very small towns thus far. This place is metropolitan to the nines. There is every form and shape and creed here in Waterdeep. You see tieflings, you see Ganassi, you even see a Githyanki. There are drow, there are elves of all sizes, shapes and colours. You think you even saw one with wings, but you couldn't be 100% sure, but you're quite sure that happens. There are Aarakocra, there are Dragonborn, and this just seems perfectly normal here.
Are there living bushes around?
You do not see any living bushes, unfortunately. At one point, you do see something antlered, wearing lots of moss, and you're quite excited. And as you kind of catch up to it, you see it's just a druid.
Yeah, I see you wearing the skin of my friend's druid. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So I think Bart is obviously overwhelmed, and so he does what I do IRL when I'm overwhelmed, zones out, stares straight ahead at what our target is, squares their shoulders to be as wide as they possibly can, and just walks without making eye contact with anybody or looking at anything, and sort of tries to be in the lead of the group to kind of swath through whatever.
But no, he's the complete opposite. They're just like weaving through people to get and look at everything. Go, just like the stone here is so different, and it's like trying to take a piece off, and you have to like stop them and pull them. Like, I just want a sample.
No.
And like every time you stop Lenobi, occasionally a lord or lady will tut tourists and go round you.
This is really bad for Bart because any sort of like social shit like that he'll take as like an aggressive. He's the good thing is they're not paying attention, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the tutting means that he needs to argue with this person, but they won't do that because they are so disassociative right now because this is overwhelming. So I'm glad that this is happening because he would be like anytime anybody said anything to Lenobi or Tut, he'd be like, "Excuse me, hey you, come back. I got something to ask you, buddy." But
Fawkes is like my country bumpkin ass. Like, every time I go down to Tokyo, I'm just like,
you're trying to keep me in line because I'm extra, but you're also like, but ooh, I keep pulling you, and then you keep realizing.
I jump up and down and point every time a griffin goes overhead. Look, this one.
Ah. But then how do we get up there?
Wow, you guys are really tourists. Look. Okay, what does Dorothea do?
I'm just keeping my eyes closed as we walk, and I'm just giving big long sniffs to the air because I like the smell of spices and cooking and dirty, sweaty people on the docks.
I was gonna say perfume covered filth bodies.
Yeah. My white diamonds perfume just to be there. It's a mix of white diamonds and gold bond powder.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go. Anyone that's been to their grandma's house knows exactly what that smells like. So.
Oh no.
You're gonna have sensory flashbacks if you mention menthol cigarettes. So, oh.
Oh gosh.
All right.
But somehow I'm making more space, like kind of uncharacteristically, just making myself bigger in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
as I'm walking through, I don't want people bumping me or my party. This is our town now. We're the big honchos in this town. So I walk a bit more swagger and purpose.
Just like
My
the two
walking
bodyguards
chairs
and
kind
then
of
two
like,
little.
instead of just swinging it out like this, I'm swinging it out like that, you know.
This is my space. Do not come into my space.
So it doesn't. I would say it'll take you about half an hour to move from very tidy, wider streets. Buildings still built up, but the buildings are quite magnificent. They're built out of like marble and rare stone and stuff like that. And then by the time you get to the middle of it, you start to notice that it gets a little bit more built up, and you can see the grand fortress in the center. And you can start seeing the mist of the docks, and you can start to hear seagulls and stuff like that. And you get to a very large marketplace.
Okay.
Well, I don't have much, but I will dole out a little silver piece for everybody.
Oh, did you guys
Now
want to buy?
Don't spend it all in one place.
And Bart like turns to the group. Is like, oh, is this for spending? And he like takes out 200 gold pieces, and he's like, here you go. And he just like hands everybody like 50 gold, and he's like, so, there you go. You're like, here's a silver piece. Now don't get a piece of toffee. And Bart's like, wait, is this here? You can have a bag of toffee. I don't know how much is this actually worth. What's currency?
They're good laughing. I'm laughing.
You know, this is a very stereotypical marketplace. You hear people shouting their wares. Just to give you a little bit of a hint, where I grew up, you hear someone shouting something like, strawberries, get your fresh strawberries. Strawberries for a gold. Strawberries for a gold. Buy 2, get 1 free. And things like that. As you protrude the marketplace, you see vendors selling. It's the city.
You can tell that before. This is what happens. This guy's yelling about strawberries, saying they're a silver a piece, and then he sees us, and he's like, "A gold! Oh, these are a gold now." You know what I mean? He's like, "What's up, country rubes? You want some of this?" Just to give you an idea of where
buy
I
one
grew
get
up.
one free. Buy one strawberry, get the other strawberry. Not a pack, one strawberry.
Yeah, you got 2 strawberries, 1 gold piece. It's a good deal. These are fresh from a druid enchanted grove that I have in my backyard. Yep.
Oh,
for
the
sure.
lies. Is there a stand that has any type of artifacts or just really jewelry or things like that?
There are many that sell jewelry. There are ones that sell fabric. You're not too sure about artifacts. Maybe you would have to find a store for that. But you can see various knickknacks from Waterdeep action figures to
Right, like I just want the most like this is a garage sale looking.
Okay, yeah,
stall.
so you can totally find a bric-a-brac stall on here that has some like books, pens, makeup that is very questionable and probably out of
These
date.
are Lenobi's specialty. They like imbuing weird things with magic. They're like here, and then this is they've done a necklace, but they have random knickknacks and things like kind of in here. So they keep just kind of pulling them out, and they're all imbued with something. So it's time to re-up. I've used a few of them. It's time to re-up on my knickknacks.
Yeah, you can totally find a bric-a-brac store in this grand market.
Awesome. You don't actually have to buy things. You can just come up with like a weird little list of weird stuff that I bought for like five gold worth of like little knickknacks, brick-a-bracks.
This is the city. What do you think you're getting for 5 gold? Nothing. Not even a strawberry. You look, your knickknacks. That's one electron. That's an electrum. Get that electrum out. You know what that is. Everybody knows what an electrum is in D&D. Everybody
I would like to
uses
buy a
it
single
constantly.
blueberry for 1 harbor moon, please. Thank you. Yeah, goes grocery shopping.
Yep.
Basically, the instant Fawkes got his silver from Dorothea, he's standing there with a trencher of bread with like some kind of meat in it.
Yes.
So on this,
God, can you imagine what it is? Oh, it's like the cheapest meat in a city is like cat or rat. Like whatever's feral that you can catch is what they put in street stall. Anyway, all right. Except this is the nicer part of town, right?
Yeah,
it's like midtown.
So it's probably
Oh
a
yeah, no,
horse.
yeah, we at least got
Okay.
chicken right now.
Yeah, you at least got
Yeah.
and some pork.
It's,
Right.
ooh,
Okay.
okay.
Okay, so on this
Sorry, Bartholomew, do you want some?
on this bric-a-brac stall, you see the following. You see a jar with just a random tooth in it. You see a 6-inch tall hourglass filled with white sand that seems to flow upwards instead of downwards. You see a masterfully taxidermized tabby cat with mismatched eyes. A pocket watch that is silver and appears to be broken. There's a flying dove etched onto the lid. A grey fur stole speckled with black spots. A small gem in a velvet-lined box. A string of brightly coloured flags that seem to have prayers written onto them. A ring of I forgot my dice. I'm just going to say 8 hand-filed keys. A blank journal bound in crunchy, thin leather. A heavy glass eye in a yes, thank you. In a velvet bag. A brass pocket watch inscribed with the image of a splashing fish. A set of ornate silver nail clippers. A flat-sized light grey river stone. A fine crystal drinking flute in an elegantly flared cup. A fine pen with a golden nimb and a barrel made from polished redwood. A small marble statuette of a beautiful woman emptying water from a vase. A small black marble statuette of a beautiful man holding a skull. A pair of solid black scalar contact lenses in a padded wooden case. A solid gold cabinet knob.
Bart comes up and looks at the statue and is like, "Hey, do you have these in any other sort of like non-gendered bullshit poses? Like, where's the chick who's holding the? I would like a strong-looking female holding a skull. Do you have one of those? Maybe a bush female if you have one of those. A big. Do you have a dude who's pouring water? Maybe a dude who's also feeding a baby with a bottle or something. You know what I mean? Like, can I get a statue of a dude doing laundry in a river? Do you have one of those?
You can't have my bread.
Unfortunately, I do not, but I do have this. And he picks up a small stuffed llama made from soft white wool.
How much do you want for this?
Oh.
5 silver.
I'll take the llama.
The llama.
The llama, 5 silver, you got it. And he takes it. And
Okay, so just a little bit more description. It's not tiny, it's about 10 inches tall. But the llama has a cartoon expression on its face, and it's kind of neutral as you get hold of it. And as you touch it, Bart, what kind of mood would you say that you're in at the moment? Would you say irritated?
I would. Yes.
It gets a little frowny face.
Oh,
Yeah.
And then he looks at the face and he puts it up to his skull because he doesn't really have like a face. And he's like, "Guess what? My friend Shay is gonna love you." Well, what does the llama's face do then?
What would you say your mood is when you threaten it? Would you say it's intimidating? Are you in an intimidating mood?
I think playful. I think he's joking around. Like he's
Okay.
not serious. He's just like, I want to see if this thing is gonna like
You
have its
s-
own emotion or if it just does mine.
You see the llama's face change into like a coy, playful smile.
He laughs and he's like, "Do you have any more of these?"
Oh no, I only have the one.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And as you laugh, it smiles.
what
so he's
kind of
like-
tooth is it?
The tooth.
Everything's human in a world full of a bunch of different races. All that shit is just human stuff.
I'm reading a book. Leave me alone. Yes, it does. It does appear to be human, and it's suspended in clear fluid.
Mm-mm.
They just look over at the person who's running the stall and just is like, explain it.
No one knows where that came from or why it's here. It's just on sale. Everyone, it's a great conversation piece.
You're not wrong. And they just sort of like scoot it closer to them. And I have the stone. Or how much would it be if I did the stone, the keys, and the gold knob?
The gold knob looks like a leaf, by the way. I didn't get to finish that. But altogether, that would come to 10 gold. So you want the stone.
Mm-hmm.
At the moment, this gem appears to be a brilliant ruby colour. And the keys.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, they're just handful of keys. And you're having the knob. Okay. And it's in the shape of a decorative leaf.
Yep. Got the knob. We're not doing you. We're not doing you. We're not doing how much that pen. Not doing you.
There are other things on here that I could possibly describe.
Oh, I thought you were finished your list. That's why I
Oh
was
no,
going through them.
there's
Please
so many.
continue.
There's so many. There's a perfume bottle of bright red perfume. There's some crystals in a little bag. There seems to be a unicorn horn with a chunk of skull still attached to the base. It looks like a unicorn horn. You just assume so. There's a finger in a jar, and it's got pale yellow liquid inside. And you're quite sure you see the finger twitching. There seems to be a dragon scale, and you look at it, and
Huh?
you look at it, and you think it's purple, and you look away for a moment, and then you come back to it, and now it's gold.
How much is this?
11 gold for that one, please.
Here you are.
There is a gold coin here with the king's face has been etched out and replaced with a grinning skull. There is an ice cube in a perfectly fitted glass box. There's a small rusty knife with the name Emmett etched deeply into the blade. There's a bundle of long white feathers tied with black yarn. There's a large black claw from some terrible beast. There's a simple brown box with a white speckled feather inside it. There's a crystal pyramid. There's fruit preserves. There's a butter knife. There's a seal jar of what seems to be very expensive mustard. A golden seal of authentication has been pressed into a dub of red wax on the lid.
I'll hold up the little box with the ice cube in it and give a little shake. And what exactly does this do? Is this an everlasting ice cube?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. It is the eternal ice cube. I've tried everything to try and... I've tried everything to melt it. I've put it in boiling water. I've even taken it to a volcano just to test it.
I'll take it.
That would be 15 gold, please.
Test it. Touch the ice cube.
I'm gonna pull out my flask of tea and put the ice cube in there. Get a little swirl,
I'm gonna
see
make
if it
sure that
gets
he
any
didn't get the
colder.
money first.
Oh no, I paid for it first. I bought it.
So you put your ice cube in, and your tea goes cold, and your single ice cube is just floating in the top.
Okay.
Nice.
Bart goes up
can
to
I get that mustard too? Is that Dijon?
Dijonnaise. It's
Oh,
Dijonnaise.
man. Oh no. No. Excuse me. I feel like that might be some Grey Poupon, actually.
5
What a mystical
silver.
world of condiments you'll live in.
Yeah.
10 silver, please.
That sounds nice. I might go
Bart
to some
goes
house
over to
toast
Fawkes.
later.
And
Oh, Bart's getting something?
no, he goes over to Fawkes and he like holds up the llama and he's like, okay, tell me the truth. You think that this is a better idea than this? And he like shakes the skull that's like wired to his face parts. And so he like concentrates and thinks happy. And then I assume the llama like smiles.
Mm-hmm.
He's like,
That's a
"Okay."
very good idea.
And then
Yes,
he's like,
yes.
he concentrates and says annoyed. And the llama,
Well, I can see what you feel. I can see how you feel.
I'm not sure
He's
if I
gonna
actually.
walk around with the llama wired too.
I was thinking more like holding it by the 4 legs in like one hand and holding it up to people and then just being like,
You're gonna just like put it on and like wire it and then just have the llama be your face now instead of
I think
How
having
does it
like
work?
a
Can you rearrange the twigs? And
yes. I just imagine you get mad and the llama's eyebrows going ring.
I mean, so here's the thing. I feel like it would be too creepy. Like I know he has like an elk skull on his head, and that's what
and
he's
now
used
the
as a
llama's
face.
like riding
But
the
like
elk skull.
yeah, but like a stuffed animal sends me more creepy vibes than like a skull does. I know that's weird, but I'm like, if I put
No,
this
it's fine.
in my
Me too.
in my
That's why
face.
I was saying too.
Okay.
Ursula, please.
Well,
Okay.
okay. I guess I can try it. And so he like unfastens some roots from the elk skull that he has and like takes it off. So I'm
So
sure all
you're
of you,
technically kind of like headless right now.
I mean, what it's just a bunch of like
Yeah.
vines and things that are just sort of like
Nobody
sticking
like
up.
turns around to give you privacy, like, oh, excuse me.
Yeah. Sets the
Fawkes is
skull
holding
down.
the skull. He's like, "Mhm,
Yeah.
I got it. It's okay.
And like takes the llama and sort of sets it in, and like some of the vines grip it
Okay.
gently. And so there's like a llama, like I think it's sitting, I know llamas don't sit like this, but I think it's sitting like a dog would. So it's like the
it's a
back legs
stuffed
are
animal,
full of
yeah, so like
yeah,
the back
exactly.
legs.
Yep. And so it's sitting there, and it's just where the skull was.
And right now, I imagine the llama's pulling a face where, like, how do I look?
Yeah, the it's like confused. It's like, hmm? And so he looks at Fawkes and he's like,
sketchbook. I can't do this. Hold on.
yeah. And so he looks
great.
at Fawkes and he's like,
It works. It works. I like it.
it works. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's try it out, I guess, for a while. And he like looks around. He's like,
And I imagine, like, the vines got, like, the heads of, like, the llama, so it's just, like, moving the llama head to look around as well.
Exactly. Yep. It's like
Oh
it's
my
become
God.
a little bit animatronic. Yeah. And so he's like,
Amazing.
okay, well, we'll try this for now. And he takes back his elk skull and he like sticks it in his bag. And he's like, just in case, because I had that thing for a long time and it seemed to work pretty well.
I think,
But now
I know, like, I mean, I gotta say, I was terrified every morning, wondering if you were gonna get shouty or friendly, you know. And now I can tell from a distance. Perfect.
From a distance.
okay, well, I just hope it doesn't terrify people too much.
And even though this is not sponsored, if you want to have weird stuff that your players can play with, this is where I got it from. It's by Madeline Hale. So I just thought I'd give a little shout out of my resource.
I love it. I can have iced tea forever.
Yeah. Every Southern woman's dream.
God bless America.
Wait, what? I'm pretty sure America didn't make that.
Fawkes is like, he's like, firebolt. Firebolt.
He just keeps trying to heat it up. That's amazing.
By the way, folks, every time you look at your dragon skull, it's a different color each time. In fact, sometimes you can't even discern what the color is. It seems to be all of them and none of them at the same time.
Okay.
Scale represents all of my ancestors.
I want that finger.
Oh, you want the finger? in the pale yellow. Okay, let me go find it.
The finger, the claw, the speckled feather, Emmett.
Oh, the speckled feathers as well? Okay. By the way, as you start to pick stuff up, you start to drop them.
Wait, like a dang video game character?
Yes.
Yeah, like why can't I hold all these limes?
Yeah, I know you need to do it.
But I don't know, your hands just suddenly seem very slippery for some reason.
No. Okay.
No, but here you go. Here you go. Here you go.
Okay, so I want all my things lined up, and then how much am I paying for the things?
Okay, 1 minute. I gotta find the page again because I closed the book.
Okay, I have my list here.
It's like 341. So what you having?
Okay, so all in all, I'm doing
Oh, you're having the gem?
Yes,
Okay, you got the gem.
I got the gem.
You got the key ring.
Yes.
You also wanted the finger
The tooth.
and the tooth.
Give me your body parts.
Okay.
I think she's making some kind of golem.
Did I ever tell you how glad I am that I don't have any body parts?
Have I ever told you how disappointed I am?
By the way,
I could always tell by the look on your face.
speckled feathers. So there was a fur that was speckled, and the feathers are white. Which one was it?
The speckled fur.
Okay.
I thought it was a single speckled feather in it.
No, it's a grey fur still speckled with black spots,
Ah, that one.
and it's permanently like warm, like laying in a heat lamp.
Oh yeah, with my reptile ass. Give me
and
that.
it's soft. And as you like run your hand over the fur, you're quite sure it's purring.
It's creepy. I want it.
Oh my god! Now I just want to find all these weird, creepy things and make Bart as
Right here, this is
weird as just like, hey, what's up, everybody?
With your lobby face.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna hold up that horn with the piece of skull still attached to it. Like okay, so just to make sure I have everything, the gold knob as well, and then that was all
Okay.
the stuff I was getting. And
Cool.
then to read everything out, I got the gem, the tooth, the 8 keys, the pen, the stone, the gold knob, the horn, the finger, the ice cube, Emmett, the claw, and the speckled warm fur.
Oh,
I
and Emmett
splurged.
isn't. Okay. I would say that would cost all 50 of your gold. You spent all your pocket money.
Just give you the bag, but then I take the horn and I go, where did you get this from?
The history of that. Once again, the guy just shrugs and says, "No one knows where this object came from or where it came to be, but sometimes when you put it on the ground, crystals grow like flowers.
Ooh.
Oh no, I read the wrong thing.
Well, whatever does that, I want it.
Okay, that's the crystal flower. You can have that too, all for 50 gold. As for the
Okay.
unicorn horn,
It's a unicorn horn? Holy shit. I mean, I don't know what that is.
That is. Okay, so now that I have the things, I'm going to put them in my bag. Do they pop out my bag like they were in my hand?
no, as soon as so you have a bit of trouble. Like it's like me holding too many dice. They just drop. But as soon as you manage to get them in your bag, you're fine. But then you do drop your bag,
Flab it.
and it just slips off your shoulder.
What are you doing, Linobi?
I'm not doing it. It's doing it. What's wrong with my bag? I'm going to squint at the stall guy.
God damn it, I told you not to spend all your money in one place. And
I
this is
didn't
what you
spend all
get.
my money in one place. I spent all of your money in one place. I still have mine.
Fair point.
Still, I think what stands is maybe look at more than one stall before you.
Okay, I'll look at another stall once I figure out what's wrong with my bag.
Oh, that would be the clumsy cabinet knob. Sorry, no refunds.
I'm going to take the cabinet knob out.
You drop it.
I'm going to put my bag on.
While you're not in contact with the knob, everything is fine.
Everything is fine. Okay, all right. I'm going to take Mercutio down. I'm going to tell him to get the knob. So now there's this little bat with this knob.
Occasionally, is it Lucretio?
But he has the knob,
Yeah.
and it's like there's a small compartment. He's hollow technically.
Yeah.
So he like puts it inside, and I just have this clumsy little bat.
You now have a clumsy
trying to
little
hold
bat.
on to me now.
Yeah, you have a clumsy little bat.
It's fine. I'm just gonna give him a little life rope in one of my locks. Like tug, like tie him. Now he's like a little hair charm, but he's just up there, sort of freebasing. He keeps falling off. I keep feeling a tug, but him just kind of falling off my head all the time.
I'd stop having him fetch tools for you if I were you.
Well, it's just until I can look at that later. He's just temporarily indisposed.
Is there anything else you'd like to do in the market?
You think that people will think that I'm a sentient stuffed llama who has control over plants?
Or a druid that got put inside of a llama that has control over plants.
Cool. Okay. This will now make my backstory even more confusing. Let's go.
The
You will
llama
happy
has
llama.
it. Yes, the llama has like a maniacal, like laughing face.
Thank you for giving me the face to draw on this llama. I appreciate
Wait, Bartholomew, I don't think you're perfectly safe from Linobi. I mean, you do have limbs.
I mean, if she wants some branches off of my body, all she has to do, or all they have to do is ask. I mean, they
I'm
know
still
that.
trying to figure out how. They're like behind you, still looking at stalls. I'm still trying to figure out how.
I'll watch your back.
I mean, I technically am watching my back because I don't have like predator or prey vision. I see all around me.
Like a bird, all at once. Panoramic view.
Yeah, I mean, technically, I have blind sense, so I don't actually. Yeah,
Oh, you're tossing it. Cool.
I guess you don't have eyes, do you?
no, I
No.
don't.
Mm.
I mean, this llama has eyes, so
What kind of eyes?
I don't know. Marbles, probably.
Yeah, so if you imagine, like, if you got, like, a teddy... Sorry, all that talk of iced tea, I had to go get some. So if you imagine, like, it's just got, like, a little, like, stitched line face normally and little beady black eyes. It has, like, little singly stitched eyebrows as well. And then, like, it does anime faces. So, like, with a maniacal laugh, it was just, like, a big, like, V shape face with accurate eyebrows. Yeah, exactly. You know, that V shaped mouth.
He's practicing his lordly
It's a
laugh.
very small llama, but hold on. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing.
We'll be able to update the character art.
Please don't do it. It'd terrify me. I'd be like, nope, I don't want to.
I also think Rune will kill us.
Yeah.
I have to draw what?
Just the same art style, but then just lava.
Look, it's just seated in some branches, and it looks fine. Yep. Okay.
Anything
So-
else you'd like to do in the market, or would you like to move on?
I'm ready to move on unless
Yeah. Sorry for
Lenobi
the
needs to,
mini shopping spree.
Lenobi needs to go to many more stalls and find things.
Nobody's
Every time
just
there's a-
planning on what to put on the items they got. This one could do this. This one could do this. This could do this.
Every time we pass a dragonborn, Fawkes is like, "Hey, brother, this is like," and they just like completely ignore him. hey.
Wow.
Mood. So you carry out of the market and continue south. And this is when things start to get a little fishy in smell. And the houses go a little bit more ramshackled. You can see where things were tiled are now starting to look a little bit sunken in. You can start to see in the brickwork where the mortar started to come away from the harsh, salty sea winds. Houses here look a lot more run down, but also you notice they're not as built up as the rest of the city. Here you start to see single-story houses and double-story houses at most. The streets also get really narrow and really dark.
And dark?
Dark.
Has the day passed on? Like, did we spend more time at the stall than I think we did?
No, it's just kind of like where like the roofs jut out a little bit, so it blocks off more of the sky.
Gloomy. Yeah.
It's gloomy. They're more
Fawkes is
tightly
happy.
packed in.
He's like, "Oh, cities have tunnels too. Great."
Okay.
Well, I will have you know that back in my day, I was a prolific swimmer. Smells nice down here like the ocean. I reckon we're pretty close.
The seagulls here are so loud.
Oh no, it's like downtown.
I'm about 98% sure we're close.
98% sure.
You can even hear like the crash of the waves a couple of rocks over.
We're all just watching right there, like, yep, for sure.
We're literally standing like at the pier looking out over to the waves.
Right? It's like, just something tells me spray of air as like a wave crashes. I go, shh. Something tells me we're just like 5 minutes away.
Yep.
Yep.
A
Any
pellet-
minute
a
now,
pellet-
does he?
Yep. A pelican comes down and tries to like eat your Sprite, and you're like,
Mm.
oh, we're almost there. Sweet ocean.
Firebolt.
You have to stop for a moment to get directions, because unlike the rest of town where things were clearly labelled, this place is starting to get a bit labyrinth-like. Roads are starting to lead into other roads. What looks like a crossway is actually a loop road and all sorts. And eventually you do find your way to Smuggler's Run.
So before we go in, Lenobi just like turns to everybody and goes, okay. So what's the plan? Are we just gonna question them? Do we go in and find the biggest person and then punch them out? Do we bribe everybody? What do we do?
We find Douglas. We talk to Douglas. We go back. Should be.
Is it busy?
I'm surprised. I
the-
thought you were gonna say that we killed Douglas.
Why would I?
Don't
Why would
give
I want
the
to?
idea out.
Why would I look?
Mess up that gorgeous flowing hair?
Well, that's just a made up person in my head. I don't actually know what Douglas looks like.
I don't think any of
That
us
was
Very
just my
disappointed if it
whimsical.
isn't.
Wait, do any of us?
did we meet Douglas? I don't think so.
No, we're asking where he is. That's why
Oh, okay.
we don't.
Just
yeah.
opens the door. Hey, Douglas.
Yeah, I mean that's what Bart was
You just
gonna do.
you just see a woman dishing up like a pot of stew with her children, and she's just like shocked that you've just opened up her house, and she's just like, what? Because you've just got into a random house. Like, hey, Douglas.
Yeah,
No,
what? That's not.
No, it's
No,
canon
but
now.
that's not where we were going. No, but that's some lady's house.
So why do they all have their doors closed? Like back home near Dorothea's, everyone has their doors open all the time.
Oh, it's just
Well,
the city you
folk
live
tend
in.
to be more unfriendly like than us country bumpkins.
My brain made smugglers run a place like a bar instead of
It's a
And so this-
road.
Streets.
And so this tree with a llama sitting on top of it turns to this lady and her children and is like, I apologize for the interruption, but do you know Douglas, the archery teacher? And like the eyebrows of the llama go up in like a quizzical, like I'm friendly
Llama.
face.
Please, we don't have much, but you can totally take this candelabra.
And then
I'm so sorry.
He takes out like a gold piece, right? And he's like, Douglas, the archery teacher, here you go. And he like sets the gold piece down on their table.
The children have nightmares of Douglas the archer.
God. Some sort of monster wants to. If they ever meet anybody named Douglas, they're gonna like get cold sweats and run away.
The house at the end with the flat roof. That's the Fletcher's shop.
Thank you.
Why
Thank
do
you,
sound so scared? We're just asking for directions.
You
Just
just
like
burst
broke
into
into
my
this person's house. Yeah, and so
Who just
So,
Bart
guys,
put
guys,
together. Yeah,
I got this. Stew inspection.
no,
Okay.
do not eat their food. Are you
No.
kidding me?
I am so sorry. I do not. I just the door is just shutting.
Another gold coin gets tossed through the crack of the door by the llama.
All right, now go, get
just
out.
before it
Get
closes.
out. Go on. Get.
I just want to
Yeah.
make it clear that
Clink, clink.
Bart is not used to this llama being here, and so the face of the llama gets shut in the door. And then, oh, wait, whoops. So he has to open it and then like close it again. He's like, okay, there's
It just
some
squeaks.
spatial.
It's like,
Yeah.
Here's llama.
Yep. And so Bart's like, oh, there's some spatial issues with this new face. Okay, good to know. Fletcher's shop.
like
Let's
that
go.
flat roof. Okay.
Crooks opening it. Sorry.
The greatest detectives in Waterdeep.
A fucking llama. God damn it. Okay. I'm super glad that it was a llama. It works so in a lot of different levels for me. So
Okay. So we're gonna
hopefully it doesn't spit. Is all I'm gonna say is it doesn't have like a spit option. That's good.
It's a teddy. It doesn't spit. I,
know.
promise
Well,
you.
look,
Now
a doorknob
spit
that
in
makes
action.
people drop things. Okay, that's magic. Anything can happen.
we're gonna go to the shop.
Yep.
Okay. So it's quite easy to find the Fletcher shop. Just so you know that Smuggler's Run, so it's kind of like a bendy curved road, and right at the end, so you came in from the top and you go to the bottom, you find a flat roofed house. It's quite wide. Why these houses are quite narrow and long. This one seems to be wide and long, horizontally instead of vertically. And obviously you can see it's got like archery stuff in the windows. It's got a Fletcher's sign up.
Oh, fletching. I was thinking something completely different.
Oh my god! How many times do I have to tell you not to bring up your weird arcane searches to everybody? That's private.
You peeking over my shoulder.
I wasn't peeking. It was there, and I saw it, and it's use an incognito arcane search next time. Is all I'm saying.
Bling.
Door opens.
A bell jingles on the door. I asked for shenanigans. I got
I know
shenanigans. What can I
you
say?
said shenanigans, so yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, it's
Shenanigans
fine.
were meant. Okay, everybody, I just want to make it clear. Shenanigans were mentioned at least 4 times before we started, and so I thought Bart needed to ramp it up a little bit. Also, evidently, the Waterdeep crew is like competing with us on shenanigans.
No,
I'm
that's
gonna
that's
win
the
then.
descent. That's the descent
Oh,
into Avernus crew.
Sorry, the descent to the Avernus crew was upping some sort of like argument about who has more shenanigans. Bring it, is all I'm saying. Bring it.
I'll peek my head into the store and look around at nothing because I can't see. Douglas.
Danny boy, is that you?
What's his name?
It's Douglas. No, you got it right.
Douglas.
Douglas is on the roof. You hear a very old voice say to you.
Well, I can't climb up no ladders. Can you tell him to come down?
It's stairs.
Well, that's questionable territory too. Come on. And I hold open the door for everybody.
Thank you.
I go in. Thank you.
Is there like a chair?
Yes, there's
in
chairs.
here? That's somebody. Okay, so Bart like gets 2 of them. No shame, Dorothy. I'm just saying he gets 2 of them, and he like sort of puts them in the corner. He's like, "Here, Dorothea, sit down. I'll go get Douglas." And sort of like nestles you in the corner of this place. So
Because
there's
it doesn't have
nothing.
the big chair that you normally have.
Yeah, I know. But it nestles you in the corner so that there's nothing behind you, so you don't have to worry about that. But you're facing. If you have anxiety like me, this is how you sit in every room where there's nothing behind you and you can see everything so that you're not
Rude.
surprised. Yeah. So he tries to sit you down there. It's like, I'll be right back. And he goes to the stairs and like they try and find Douglas.
Okay, so this is a long kind of thing like American. So this is how I see American shops with the force fronts. They're kind of like long and they have flat roofs. You go up these stairs, you lift a thing, and you can kind of see why this shop is long. You kind of think that the old man, who was an elf, by the way, a very elderly elf, so possibly ancient, before the spell plague, ancient, directs you up the stairs, and you go up the stairs, and you lift up the trapdoor, and you can see why it's long. They probably bought a bunch of them together. And the first thing you see is an archery target just on your left. And you don't go fully up, you just peek your head up, your llama head up at first before you hear that very distinct whistle of an arrow flying above. And it's nowhere near you because obviously you're low down, target's quite high. And you look to where the direction of this is. And you see before you a very tall, lean air ganassi with short cropped hair that's soft and wispy like clouds. And they have pale blue skin. And they have that lovely long trunk torso that we were talking about last week. They're wearing like a leather glove with a archery gauntlet on, and they're just like holding, I think this appears to be a very young, masculine presenting person.
Are you Douglas? And Bart just like walks up because he's not afraid of arrows. If they shoot him, they hurt, but he's fine.
Yeah, you're not shot at because as soon as like you kind of like raise the arrow had already been released. They're just kind of standing there, hand gripped on the bow. I am. And you are.
Hello, my name is Bartholomew of Spirits and Scones, and I am here to direct you to our director and leader, Dorothea, who is downstairs awaiting for you to have some questions asked of you in regard to the disappearance of Griffon Coachwell.
Oh, Carice, they still haven't found her.
That is correct. Please come with me. And like fake, I don't know if a llama face can do strained smile that looks
Professional.
awkward. Yeah.
Professional smile. Like,
Yeah.
For some reason, the llama has glasses on.
Perfect. If you would please join me, that would be advisable. Whoops, that was a
Mama
little
puts
too
his glasses
threatening.
up and they go.
Yeah. No.
And Douglas joins you downstairs.
Mama just like,
Yep.
Yeah. Bartholomew, you're pretty close, but the hair's a little short, but yeah, not bad.
This is exactly not what I said. Specifically, almost exactly the opposite, but that's fine. Don't worry about it. We don't need to mention what that's in regards to.
There seems to be a scent about Douglas, like fresh mountain air on a clear day. And before, the room kind of smelt a bit like dusty feathers and like wood chips. Now it's just kind of like got that mountain air type of smell about it. And it's a little bit drafty as well.
The good thing about not having a nose is no one can tell when you do that creepy sniff thing behind the mic. So Bart just like gets a little bit closer and then is like, oh, mountain air. But luckily, nobody knows that they're... Wait, that's not actually good, I don't think. Hold on, time out. I retract that. Bart's not creepy. Hey, all right.
The llama has those like arch eyes, happy eyes.
it's like, so you guys come down, and so nobody's like, okay, so we have Bart, all right, we got Fawkes.
They're sitting in the corner knitting.
This is our leader, Dorothea.
Crocheting, actually. She's a crocheter.
Right. Oh, of course. You can't knit. Yeah. This is our
Okay.
leader, Dorothea. This is Lenobi, our tech specialist. This is Fawkes, our fire specialist.
Our tech specialist, like this is our IT guy.
I'm the IT guy. And my laptop's on the guy, so that's ironic. Hold on.
Yeah. Yep. Look, artificer, technology, same thing, really.
It counts.
From the other room.
Yeah.
Just under the desk, under the desk fixing things.
Yeah, already fixing some of the old elf stuff. Like, you could improve this with a couple of new lug
We
nuts.
got matters of business with you, Douglas. If you don't mind us talking to you for a little bit, we'll be out of your hair soon enough.
Not at all, ma'am. I'll try and be as helpful as I can.
Your girlfriend, Cerisi?
Girlfriend?
Did you just ask?
Was that correct? I pull out my notes that she can't read, but just kind of peering down. Well, we have a young lady missing from the manor up over yonder. People have been saying that you might have been running away with her, and we're just here to collect her in case that is the case.
I'm afraid it's not. I mean, she did seem interested, but she's a lady of station, and I'm just an archery teacher. I'm not worthy of her, quite honest.
Well,
Have you
I've
read
read
any
a lot of
books?
books in my life.
Wait, what did you say?
Yes, Fox, thank you.
Oh, great.
Oh, it's,
I
too good.
subscribe to that AO3 news subscription that comes around monthly. It's quite nice. I'd recommend it. But also, I've been around quite a bit in my day, so the always unexpected romances are the ones that tend to crop up. So I find that bullshit, quite frankly.
Well, you may, but I'm trying to be respectable, and if nobles can't trust me with their daughters, then I don't have much of a business.
Can I do an insight check?
You certainly can.
Insight.
17.
Oh, +7 in insight. A 16.
You both can tell from his white flowy hair to his fresh Mountain Dew scent. He is telling the truth and seems quite earnest.
Well, we did meet her family, and I'm sure you have as well. They seem to be less satisfactory than most parents. What have been your thoughts about her disappearance? She disappeared, what was it, 10 days ago?
It'd be almost over 2 weeks now.
I look around at the party.
10 days?
Almost 10 days. Be 10 days in about 4 weeks. The father always reflected me as peculiar. Seems more interested in the beyond and the arcane. His home seems to be more of a museum or a circus than a home. The mother, also quite peculiar, seemed to invested in Carissa's life. She, on the other hand, was quite restless. She was a dedicated student when she wanted to be, but she was quite prone to flights of fancy. One moment she would be interested in me, next minute she wouldn't. It's almost like she couldn't make her mind. And then a few days before she disappeared, she seemed like a completely different person.
Was she singing
How
that prayer?
She was singing some kind of song. It was very strange.
You hadn't heard her sing the song before that?
No.
So Lenobi doesn't necessarily respect personal space, and so she totally took that diary.
Awesome.
How many days ago did you hear the song?
It was
I just want to
about...
correlate the diary with the day he's saying to see if they wrote something. Like while he's talking, they're like flipping through the book.
Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, according to my notes, I wrote down that 2 days before she disappeared, she wrote, "I saw him," and that's what Douglas said 2 days before she disappeared.
Power of note taking.
When you say that her parents seemed uninterested in her
Her
specifically, but right, well, no, I mean, the mother was overly interested in her success as a person, not her as an individual, I imagine, right?
Or was it just spoiling?
Seemed like it to me.
She was interested in her entering society, finding a good match, moving out.
Right. So that she wouldn't be siphoning money off of her father. Okay, so
So she wouldn't end up like her in some weird noble marriage.
I mean, maybe. I'm very pessimistic when it comes to nobility and their drives towards anything. So her father, would you say that he was so much more interested in the afterlife and sort of the beyond that he would actively do something to harm his daughter to further that sort of understanding or research from what you know of him?
I wouldn't put it past him, but I can't say I know him that well, and I saw no evidence to prove the contrary.
Okay. It just seems he's so detached that I feel like he seems so calm and cool about her disappearance that I feel like it must be that he knows where she is. Okay. Anything else that anybody wants to ask Douglas?
Mm,
Did the parents' reaction, like attitudes towards her, change when she started singing this song?
No, they seem them normal selves. Father disinterested, mother overly interested in her life.
thank you.
Maybe more importantly, I feel her father has kind of obsession with the occult. Now that may just be because he wants fame and glory from running a haunted house. But I worry that he may have gotten himself into some trouble digging into things he shouldn't be digging into, or maybe her, and that put
Yeah.
something on her.
Especially if many of the servants had mentioned that they were not allowed. I like how we're having like this meeting of our group in this dude's house or his like
On his
archery
roof, on his
range.
roof.
We're
The
like,
shop,
what's
yeah.
up? What's up? We're gonna just hang out here. Also, considering most of the servants of the Coachwells weren't allowed into the attic where they said the Pythagoras's like occult shit was. It may be that he unlocked it and that has allowed. I mean, the ghosts have been here for a long time, but what if something worse has come through since that
Yes.
part of the house has been opened up?
Maybe something in the house draws the owners towards that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn
Okay.
back to Douglas. And just like, I don't know, I want to ask him, we pretty much ask him most of what we can about what he knew about them and the daughter. But 2 days ago, was there any type of, what was the weirdest thing that happened around here 2 days ago or in town? You heard of anything weird happening that day?
2 days ago?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you mean 2 days before she disappeared?
2 days before she disappeared, excuse me, yeah.
Anything strange happening about town?
Ba-da-da-bum-bum. There's something strange in our neighborhood. Who you gonna call? Spirits and Scones.
So, possibly a week before, there was the fireball attack on a tavern. And there's been gang wars. There's also been reports of people's heads exploding.
Okay, so a lot of stuff.
Now, let's not lose too much focus here, only because this is a huge town full of tons of people who probably get into some weird ass shit.
How much of that is just big city stuff?
Yeah.
It
I don't wanna-
happens quite regularly here, to be honest.
Heads exploding happens regularly in the city.
New
Oh.
fashion.
Well, that is quite new. It's not happened before, but it's the newest thing on a long list of strange happenings in Waterdeep. Oh, I also did hear that a captain of the guards attacked a noble, and the noble destroyed some houses up north in the Temple Ward.
Yikes.
But yes, it's been a mad couple of weeks.
So you don't know where? Nobody knows where she learned that song.
I literally saw her to the afternoon with our lessons. She left the next morning when we began again. She was singing it. Literally overnight.
Well, then
And she didn't.
the only place that she was the place around the stable. They really are just saying all of this out loud, like just like thinking out loud.
And she didn't tell you, or you didn't ask her where she learned that song.
I did ask her. I was like, "That's a pretty song," and she was just like,
But that was it. Okay,
I
there was
didn't-
no further.
I didn't think anything of it until after she disappeared.
How did it go?
About weep for me, for I have no tears, mourn for me, because I have no soul, something like that.
Did we write this out last time? Last time that
Beg for mercy for me, for I have no mercy to give. The prayer of Tamara, a dragon goddess, a prayer for protection. There we go. That's all I have written down. Sorry.
I on the other hand just had Doja Cat's like Tia Tamara, and it's like Tiamat Tamara.
Oh.
Tiamat Tamara.
Oh my god, I love it. I love it.
That's wow.
Tia
Holy shit.
Tamara.
Someone needs to make one. That's good.
Wow. Now I have to watch that video and think of it that way. Wow.
And no, I have not got that. That's in a different notebook that I don't have to hand.
You don't really have to say like how it goes. I mean, like melody wise, like was there something to the song? And you don't have to make up something for that either. It's just
It was a dirge. I know that much.
yeah, because if the act of doing the song itself would give us a connection, I have an idea.
Oh, well, I have an idea if you're willing to hear it out.
Yeah, why not? You're involved in this conversation.
I kind of
Wait,
gathered, since we're all
is
just
he?
holding a meeting
Is
here.
he? Oh, I was just gonna say.
Oh.
We're in the circle. I guess I assumed I'm part of the circle.
We all have our hands on each other's shoulders, and we've done like a group. We're like, "What's up?" Yeah.
I'm just like, rude. Have conversation here.
No.
Anyway.
Look, you're not getting a cut, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. What's the idea?
Well, if you don't want to hear it, I won't give
No,
it
you
to
want to
you.
hear it? I knew it.
Well, the song speaks. It's a dirge. Usually people sing dirges at funerals. And the house is haunted. And it says, mourn for me, cry for me, beg for forgiveness for me. What if she disappeared off performing this ritual to break the curse? That house is like a labyrinth with all its secret passageways.
Is there a possibility that she could just be lost inside the house?
I mean,
It's a complete possibility. I was led through once. I went from the kitchens to the library, but I'm quite sure we went underground. I thought I heard water of the sewers.
yeah, I mean, it's looking more and more like whatever's happening is happening on that property. I'm interested in the prayer more so. I mean, I've always been interested in that as like a thing, but I mean, if we go to the temple ward, are there still any like temples or
Where would we be able to get plans? To get blueprints?
I don't think there's a planning
Map,
commission
a city
for
map.
Waterdeep, is there?
You could get a map, but right beneath Waterdeep itself is Undermountain. And the best bet to find anyone that's made a map there would be the Yawning Portal.
Are there any temples to tomorrow in Waterdeep?
Yes, they will be in the temple ward.
Okay. 'Cause
How
I
far
kind
was
of
the yawning portal from the temple ward?
yeah.
Okay, give me a second.
Not
On the way.
don't you don't have to
On
like
the way.
look.
We asked a question she was not prepared for.
No, I'm just saying don't look at up and actually give us real information. Just be like, my name is
No,
Douglas.
because
I say
what-
they're close kind of to each other.
I think isn't the only
Waterdeep
portal like just south of the
Waterdeep is a
market?
real Waterdeep is a real place. Okay, so
Mhm.
we are in
it's-
Smuggler's Run, which
Waterdeep
I'm
is
now
whatever you want it to be, is what I'm gonna say.
Stop
No.
it.
no, because it's a real place here, and I tried to keep it to Keevan's thing. Okay, and I think it's in the trades ward.
Yeah, the only portal's between the palace and the market.
Oh yeah, right. C10, 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 C10. You are correct. So Douglas tells you that it's in the castle ward, back at the market.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's where you went, didn't you? So we did all the shopping.
Okay. Good. We need like they're worrying. They're officially worrying with the plan. If you heard water and it was under, then if we get a city map and then line it up to where the sewers are, if there's a connection between the tunnels of the house and the sewers, you probably crawl through there, or else there's some type of connection between the sewers and the house. Then we can figure out if she's lost down there. If she was doing something she wasn't supposed to and trying to do a ritual to clear the spirits, she just ended up down in the sewers and it's lost. It's a possibility that we should check.
I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that she's down there.
It doesn't, but it means that
But-
there's a connection to the house that wasn't
Sure.
known before.
I mean,
It must be. It's a big fancy place like that. You must be on the sewers, right?
The
right.
place I fancy wouldn't have you getting rid of it the other way.
Mhm.
You mean throwing it out the window onto people? Yeah, no, probably not.
I meant going outside in the middle of the night into an outhouse. But yeah, that's bad too.
That's a big ask, I think. People in big ass houses. All right, you got to go out and use the portal.
Yes.
I still think we should
Okay,
check
well-
the tunnels first, in the house tunnels.
Yeah, I mean, I want to learn more about this dirge, though.
Yeah, no,
if it-
definitely.
it-
I don't want to just go back and forth between the house and here. I want to do that and then do the other thing on the way. But I was just throwing out my idea. That's
mean,
why I
if
was
we-
asking about city plans in the first place. I was just saying.
I mean, that's what yeah, no, I mean, if we split up, I know nobody likes to do that, but if Lenobi goes and gets the plans and then I can go ask about the dirge, we can meet back up at the house once we're done with our sort of side.
Okay. So the shenanigans are splitting. Who's going to be the other one's impulse control? Who's
Yeah,
coming as
exactly,
Lenobi's
that's-
impulse control?
I mean, we
And
don't
who's
have to
coming as
split up.
Bart's
I just
impulse
think,
control?
yeah, I mean, we don't have to split up. I just think it would be faster to get both of these things done if we did it
mean,
in
I
two
think-
groups.
When we were coming down, looking at the rooftops and stuff as I was, I think the temples are between here and the mansion. We could stop by on the way.
But we also need to get the maps from the Yanni portal area, right? So you're saying if they're all on the way together, we can go together. That's fine. I just wanted to
Yeah.
save time.
Maps, temple, mansion.
It's a big.
Yeah,
All right.
okay, so
I
yeah,
wouldn't-
that is
I
the
wouldn't
that's
want
the
us to
order in
get
which we're
split
doing.
up anyway.
Oh, sorry.
I'm gonna start counting heads too because I don't think Dorothea knows that Death is missing. Maybe. Or if she did, she has forgotten.
Okay.
So I'm just counting heads and noticing we're coming up too short. So, well, they've run off again. RUNNOFT. So,
Where's Dev?
Dorothea,
Fawkes
as we were-
Douglas, are you deaf?
That's not death.
No, Death is much more handsome.
Oh, dang. Wow.
nasty little gnome at the moment.
I don't know. He's pretty hot.
Well, there's nothing wrong in being less handsome than another fella, but you know,
Well,
there's something honest and true about a
Poor
less-
Douglas. He's like, what is
I'm
happening?
like, I think our conversation has drifted away from something that we need Douglas to be included in our group huddle with. Let us move forward. Thank you, Douglas. Here
But
you go. And he, like,
as you start to say goodbye, we have a brief cutaway.
Ooh.
Because in the heart of Waterdeep, there is a mossy-looking dog and a little gnome with chocolate brown hair, wandering the streets of Waterdeep.
Oh,
Before they were exploring together, they were quietly watching a man cut grass with a pair of scissors. So everything was a perfect height. And then they went and frolicked in a man-made stream. But they soon got bored of that together, and now there is a gnome and a little mossy dog wandering the streets of Waterdeep, taking in all the sights and sounds. Before you see them reach a great archway with a high internal wall. And beyond these gates of this archway, you see that they begin to explore a site littered with graves and great monoliths and other grand structures as they enter the city of the dead.
There's a nimble right go running past.
Not at that time. we have passed the events of Waterdeep.
Sorry.
As hinted by the fireball and other stuff.
Yeah.
what? That was a reference? Oh.
I just want Shay Death Adventure. A little side mission. The DLC content.
Yep.
There's definitely a one shot in there somewhere. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like Shay would be extremely outclassed by death as far as like a useful
You'd think that,
companion.
but Shay's the barbarian.
All right. So yeah, Bart like throws a couple gold pieces. They are now surprisingly low on gold pieces because they handed them away to their companions and their companions spent them all.
I'll pay you back.
I'm just kidding. I don't care. But yeah, hands like 5 gold pieces to Douglas and says, "Thank you, and you are very attractive in your own airy way." Okay, everybody, let's go.
Airy way.
And as you shut the door, you just kind of hear Douglas turn to the ancient elf and was like, why were they talking about death like it was a literal thing?
I forgot about that. Nobody else knows.
Yep. Look, our group is very insular, okay? We don't actually understand that there's other people that exist. So it's understandable. All right.
Dorothea, did you see those big double-decker horse-drawn carriages? Can we go on one of those?
Well, perhaps at the end of the day, we might take a nice jaunt around the city as a treat, but only if y'all behave.
I don't want to ride on one of those carriages. Probably costs money. What's wrong with just walking?
To be honest,
People were just
This is
getting
my
on and off of it.
to be honest, you are like an hour away from the market ward from Smuggler's Run. Now that I have the
Well, that's
map
a
up in
very
front of me.
long walk. All right, let's get it. Let's get a carriage. Go
I
get
can
one.
carry everybody. It's fine. What do we
Have
have?
fun and ride the carriage.
You already bought your things and your llama.
I want to go on the second. I want to go on the second deck.
So you go to find one of these horse-drawn.
He said, I just wanna-
wave it in the air. I just assume that I'm like looking at you, but I'm probably like turned around, like
looking at a tree. Why is your sprite not helping you? It's the most useless thing.
fog, so it sleeps most of the
Oh no,
time.
it's also blind. It just
Okay.
doesn't have the heart
It's
to
also
tell you
The
that.
blinds leading
It
the
just makes up shit to
blinds.
tell me. It just tells
Yep.
me shit, and I just assume that it's correct, and it's just like half asleep.
It has little hints of
Yeah.
gray in its petals, like an old dog when it gets it on its nose.
I just want to make it clear that Fox said the deck is what he wanted to write on, just in case anybody was confused.
Okay.
Second deck.
Yeah.
So you go
Second
to find one of these like double-decker carriage stations, and you hear a voice, and this voice sounds thus. Oh, hello, dearies! Oh my, aren't we looking fabulous today?
The llama's
Aw.
eyes look mad.
And you're not too sure where this voice is coming from. That there is this huge crowd around this one double-decker.
The nobody's head is on a
Carriage.
swivel. What was that?
And like briefly the crowd parts. Oh, thank you so much. But oh, not too many sugar lumps today. You'll make me fat. And then you see a horse wearing a beautiful flower bonnet and a bright pink bow. And it's one of those bonnets with like the scarf tied around it and the scarf's bow. And then
Aristocats.
And then you realise that what is actually speaking is a horse. Except for you, Dorothea. Unless your sprite has woken up at the sound of this and had a look.
I'll poke it. It sounds rather annoying, so I'd like to get a closer look.
Folks wrists just go, hello, Maxine.
Oh, Fawkes! You're back in the city. How nice to see you again. What brings you here this time?
And the usual, looking for ghosties.
Oh, there's been so much trouble in Waterdeep, let me tell you.
Mm.
It's a pity you were not here 2 weeks ago. There was this fabulous circus in town. It came on boats from Luskan. Seemed to be
Always
run
wanted
by
to see one of those.
seemed to be run by the most fabulous hat maker. This is where I got this hat from. Do you like it?
It's beautiful, beautiful.
Hmm. His name was J.B. Novikot, but he's not here anymore.
Sounds like a illustrious fellow.
Oh, you can't say about that, but he certainly knows a good hat.
Bart like turns to Fox and is like, "Who is this, and why are you talking to them like you're friends?"
She's lovely. What's she talking about? And Maxine. This is Maxine. We met last time we were here. You remember last time we were here? We did that thing for that person.
I've never been here before.
Yeah.
Heard what our DM told us when we got into the city.
Fawkes, you are the only person that have been here before. We totally can improv this.
Oh, I see. Okay. You know what? I've been here like
Sorry.
10 times actually. I have an apartment here which has a bunch of sweet loot and some gold in it. I didn't know
I
if
see.
you knew that or not, but
Befitting of a lord. Yes.
yeah. I also have a bunch of ghost charms, and it's just lots of anyway. Well, I didn't realize that you did anything before. I mean, other than everything that you told us about your tragic backstory.
Well, he does have a life too, Not
Thank you,
everybody's
Darcy.
every day is all doom and gloom, and
It's not.
it's
That's
all right if
it's-
that's your day. That's all right. I'm not judging.
It's just chores, making sure that all of you are taken care of.
Look,
That's
I'm
my
telling you, there was this particular fish pie I heard about, and you don't eat, and yeah, I didn't.
I'm
I
not-
felt,
I'm not
You want-
saying that I'm jealous of you having
Uh-huh.
friends outside of the group, or that
uh-huh.
you go on
Uh-huh.
adventures and things without me. No, that's not what I'm saying. I was just curious about
Bartholomew.
Hello,
Barth-
Max.
Bartholomew.
And they like,
Bartholomew, the llama looks very jealous.
and then
The llama is green.
The llama the llama moves away from like doesn't look at Fox and looks at Maxine and does the very like pointed change of topic to, hello, Maxine. It's lovely to meet you. My name is Bartholomew, and we're Spirits and Scones. I don't know if you've ever heard of us because maybe Fox never told you about who we were, but yeah.
I was kind of fixated on getting that fish pie at the time. I didn't really talk about much. Maxine, are you still got your very informative friends?
Oh, very informative, very important. I even have new friends now. And if you're looking for the best fish pie, I need to tell you about Under One Moon. Brand new seafood restaurant. Most fantastic fish ever served.
Open since I was here?
It opened about a week ago.
Oh, where is it?
It's over at Trollscombe Manor, I do believe.
Trollscombe Manor? Didn't that guy say, wasn't there a fireball attack there?
Yeah, they rebuilt it into like a fabulous little seafood inn.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm working. We can go there after, right? Everyone, fish pie. Fish pie.
That sounds delightful.
After work drinks. Drunk people are more likely to give up their shoes. Yes.
We're gonna be working all night, so we're gonna be morning drinkers now.
Well, it's not day drinking.
I mean,
it's mimosas.
It's mimosas. We'll have a nice brunch.
I just want to point out that day drinking is acceptable no matter what it is, because fuck your ideas of drinking at a specific time.
Makes sense. My old gran was rather into the sherry. Can we have some of that? That just takes me back.
I do like
My-
sherry. I do.
My grandmother was also into big, huge coffee cups full of gin in a refrigerator.
Hey,
From
my
the
other
moment
grandmother
you
was
wake up to.
She taught me how to make a gin and tonic.
Hey.
Actually, I don't. Yeah, she did. Wow, God.
Yeah.
Why do some people have cool grandparents? My grandparents suck. Anyway, Bart's like, I don't have grandparents. Actually, it's just a tree. But I like to pretend. I make up stories about having relations so that when people
why
talk
do you
about
make
it,
up-
I can.
Why do you make up relatives that suck? You should make up ones.
Right? How would you make a relative?
Because all I know is the pain and horror of following an evil tree into the destruction.
Hey, well,
of
we're
the
not
world,
that
so-
bad. You got good examples now. We're not that bad.
Well, I'm not going to steal your stories and then tell them back to you. That seems silly. Like, I'm not going to be like, yeah, my grand taught me how to make a gin and tonic. And then Fox will be like, no, that was my grandmother. I don't understand what's going on. I'd be like, whoop.
No, we just did a twinsies. Yay.
Oh, okay. Well, that, I guess. Anyway, where are we going? What are we doing? I just want a gin and tonic.
We're going to a bar, so it's perfect. Yeah, to the yawning portal.
Oh, the yawning portal, that's right on my route. That's 10 nips each, darlings, and I'll take you right there, I promise.
I've got this one. Here you are.
And now we
sugar?
don't have to ride the thing. Yeah.
No, that's what she's pulling the thing.
Yeah,
isn't
she's
she?
pulling. She's pulling a thing. She's a workhorse.
Okay, to be fair, I didn't know that it was a horse. I thought it was going to be like an animated golem that was this carriage that talked like that. And I was like, oh shit. You will hear her from the
Giant
inside wherever
talking
you
carriage.
are. Yep.
No, Maxine's a horse. She pulls one of these weird double-decker carriages. You're at a weird Waterdeep bus stop. Maxine's quite famous.
Mhm.
I mean, I've never heard of her, so she can't be that famous.
Oh, burn.
And I know everybody.
But
So
you
you-
have forgot half of them.
So
To be
you,
fair.
you get on. Fawkes, you going upstairs? Are the rest of you going upstairs? Dorothy, it might be a bit difficult for you to get
I'll
upstairs.
stay down there. That's fine. That's fine. Y'all
I
kids
stay
go
with-
up and have some fun.
I stay with Dorothea.
Okay.
Yep. The two gawkers are on the top.
And
I'm
as,
king of the world.
and as you're right at the front of this open top double-decker carriage, and you see some of the locals just like look at you and go, tourists, as you make your way back to the marketplace.
Now, is this the tour that takes us around to all the celebrity houses?
Right.
Oh,
you get
no.
on and get off when we
Is
like,
that
right?
the one?
No, that's the Saturday. That's the Saturday one, my dear.
Is this the one that takes us to where all the famous murders happened?
Oh no, dear.
good
That's Sunday.
Aw, ghost tour.
But I bought this map that tells me where Drizzt's house is, and I feel like that's where.
Does Drizzt have a house in Waterdeep?
Probably. I was just trying
If
to
he
find
does,
somebody
I
who
need
would
to
be
make sure that Lyle goes there and burns it down.
Yeah, I mean, true, 100%. I was gonna say I want to find his house so that I can just murder him and then take his panther as my best friend. But I don't know. I just was trying to think of someone who was extremely famous that everybody would recognize the name of.
He's famous. So there's L'Ariel, one of the Seven Sisters.
Ooh.
Who else is famous? There's Mirrit, one of the Harpers. There's Maxine, who's also a Harper, I'll have you know.
That's the context thing I was saying.
Yeah.
There's the Mordenkainen and stuff here, right?
Mordenkainen, this isn't one of his main bases, but he's known to turn up.
But he was nursed back to health here, wasn't he, by Elminster and
Yes.
Storm?
Yes, Elminster is dead. Not dead in another place. I don't know what's happening with Elminster right now. Elminster's around. Obviously, there's the Black Star.
Nobody ever does. No, what's up with Elminster? That's kind of the whole.
The law
I want to go and
changes
see
so much.
Vadra. I want to go and see Vadra Safar.
Oh no, dearie. She's retired. The Black Staff is now Zirin Quinn. No
Never heard
apprentice.
of him. Them. Okay. He's like, King of the World, and immediately gets arrested for impersonating a noble.
Oh, no.
We're not going to do that. I'm quite sure a lot of there's like tourist stuff happening. The guards were just like,
Griffon swoops down, it's like,
yeah, picks you off.
Just like, I'm king of the world.
Like a seagull after a sausage roll, which totally happened to me, by the way. But
Oh,
I
no.
think while we're having our wonderful scenic route, it's a perfect time to take a quick break. So everybody, we're going to take a quick break, go enjoy the music that I'm sure Twitch will mute later, even though I totally have rights to it. Stretch your legs, grab a drink, and we will be right back. So don't go anywhere, and we'll see you in a little bit for more Wacky Wednesday. Hello, everybody. Hello, Herd. Good evening, good afternoon, and whatever, wherever in the world you are. As you can see, the windows are all strange, apart from mine, because I only had time to fix mine before we quickly came back. So you've got like a bit of Adelaide's eyebrow, and you've got some of my chest here. So hello, chest. But as you can see, we've lost a player. And we're having some technical difficulties, so we're actually going to wrap up the session with the party heading to the Yawning Portal, where we will pick it up in 2 weeks' time as we resume our normal date with their schedule. So we're going to end the stream now, go to our ending screen. Stay safe out there, keep your hands washed, and of course, stay in trouble and on fire. Good night, all.